we had Ciryl Gane versus Serghei Spivac for the main event. Ciryl Gane coming off of, I think, big loss against John Jones. So he's 0-2 in title fights. He's still like ranked number 2 or something like that. So he's trying to get back into contention. He lost to Francis Ngannou, then he lost to John Jones in his title shots. So this is him coming back. Serghei Spivac's been on a little bit of a roll. What did you think going into this fight? Who did you pick going into this fight?
I always pick against Serghei. Serghei, regardless of whether or not he wins or loses, he is one of the most boring. Like he produces some of the most boring fights I've ever seen. Like I don't understand how they all end differently, but yet somehow they're equally as like non-entertaining.
You weren't entertained by him beating the shit out of Greg Hardy?
No, well, I was entertained by the result.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
look, I don't want to shit on him too much, but it seems like every single time he fights like real tough competition, that's where he gets set back. I know he had the win against who was it?
Lewis.
Derek Lewis, yeah. But even that, it's like Derek Lewis. He's not like, look, he's an entertaining fighter, and I'll tune in for his fights. He hits hard as fuck, but that's kind of it, you know?
Yeah.
So like a win over him doesn't necessarily mean too much.
Especially the way he won. It's not like he went out there and like stuck in the phone booth and traded the whole time and ended up connecting or something like that. It was the way you would expect to win a Derek Lewis fight. You take him down, you show him that jiu-jitsu is real, and then you choke him out. Like,
and speaking of, that's why I think a lot of people picked him for this fight, because Ciryl Gane has struggled with grappling with Francis Ngannou and with John Jones, his two big losses. So I think a lot of people were like, Ciryl Gane can't wrestle. But I think it's not as like black and white as that, because for me the Francis the Francis fight, people were like, yeah, he got out grappled by Francis. That's not a good look, right? Because Francis isn't necessarily known as a good wrestler.
Francis Ngannou with no knees.
Francis Ngannou with no knees. That being said, I think it's still more nuanced, because I don't think game plan wise Ciryl Gane was expecting that at all, right? So caught off guard mid-fight. There's a little bit of a caveat there. It's not necessarily, I don't think, a true representation of his grappling. And then people were like, well, John Jones took him down real easy and choked him out in 10 seconds or something like that. But that's also John Jones.
Yeah, he took down DC with ease too. Are we really going to compare apples to oranges? Like,
exactly. So it's like, yeah, he technically has struggled with grappling in the past, but it's not, like I said, it's not that black and white. So going into this, I thought, Serghei has some decent grappling, but he's not John Jones. And I guarantee Cyryl's game plan is to counter wrestle basically and sprawl and brawl, that type of game plan. He's expecting grappling from Serghei is what I mean. And yeah, that's kind of what happened, right? He kind of stuffed his takedowns, beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, and you consider the fight that he had in between the two losses, which was tied to Avasa. He's not expecting to grapple like at all that entire fight. And I mean, I bet you could have bet your house that there was not going to be any shots taken in that fight. So like you got to consider he's had 3 fights to basically just focus on making sure he doesn't get taken down. You may not be able to like develop D1 wrestling skills, but you can learn to defend a few takedowns. And Serghei doesn't have a diversity in his wrestling game. It's stand up body lock trip, or it's shoot him blind for like the ugliest single or double leg, hope you grab a leg and then muscle it down. That's sort of like what heavyweights do if they don't really like, they know how to wrestle. Like DC will do like a bunch of different things, trip, like inside tie, inside hook, a bunch of different things. John Jones does it too, but like Stipe a little bit too. But everybody else is like grab a leg, muscle him down, grab his leg, muscle him down.
Yeah, the skill level for grappling at heavyweight is not what I would call like the best,
Yeah.
And then you some of the people say, oh, one of the best heavyweight wrestlers in the roster right now is Curtis Blades. But even Curtis Blades doesn't really set up his shots. He kind of shoots from way far out, and that's how he gets dropped because of it. He reaches for his takedowns, and you saw that a lot with Serghei. Like you said, he likes to clinch and get a trip, and he's almost like reaching for these. He's not setting it up. He's just reaching for it, and it allowed Ciryl Gane to kind of big brother him. grappling exchanges in this fight. He kind of big
Yeah.
brothered him the whole fight, really. When Ciryl
Yeah.
Gane, go ahead.
He like also like with the stand up, like he was so much longer than him, and Serghei doesn't fight like at length at all. He's like shelled up the whole time. So
Yeah,
he was both big brothering him like when they were doing grappling, and then like as soon as they got stood up, like Ciryl was just like pop pop move, pop pop move, pop pop move, and Serghei couldn't even get close enough to even touch him.
Yeah, it was a good style wise, a really good showcase fight for Ciryl to kind of because a lot of people were like, oh, he's Cyril's overrated. He's got zero ground game. He shouldn't even be at the top. Like after he lost that John Jones fight, people like lost all hope in Ciryl Gane, and it was like but it's John Jones. Like it's not like I don't know. I didn't put too much stock in that loss. If I'm being honest, he got caught in a weird spot where he was a little careless, leaving his neck up when he was trying to get up. And John's the type of guy to snatch that. Like you can't leave openings against John Jones, and it happened. But so this was a good like reminder of like, hey, Ciryl Gane's still really good. It's just he fought Francis Ngannou and John Jones. Like they're both pretty good fighters.
Yeah, and he didn't fight Derek Lewis with abs, so.
Yeah, exactly. HLB Comer says, "Where's my beautiful boy Ramiro? I need my sweet chocolate fix. Who are these two nerds?"
he's outselling trading cards.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, Mazzatoni says the bodywork was clean, and yeah, that's the other thing. Like you said with Serghei Spivac, there's a lot of times when they were at distance where he would just immediately just shell up, high shell, and Ciryl Gane's just patient, and he just bam straight to the body, and he never really dropped his hands ever. So Ciryl Gane just kept ripping him to the body. Up against the fence, he'd rip him to the body. Like, I mean, they didn't really say it until after the fight, but did you see that massive welt on Spivak's side? I was like, dude, did he dislodge a rib? What the hell is going on here?
Also, anytime you're fighting like one of these big white Russians, it's always super apparent where you're hitting them because they immediately turn a different color. They look like a can of tomato soup.
That's me, dude. I'm so pale that like any scuff or anything like that gets super red on me, and it's like I saw that even just with his back against the fence, and then they separated like early in the fight, and you could see like the whole fence imprint on his back, and I was like, man, some people really wear damage despite if it's actually damage, right? HLB Comer says apparently he broke a rib. Yeah, that's what it looked like. And he kept eating body shots with that broken rib. That's so brutal. And Ciryl does this thing where when he has you hurt, and it almost cost him. There was one time where Spivac had his back against the cage. It was close to the end of the fight. And Ciryl really has like a disregard in those moments where he'll stand there in front of you and just start beating you with like one hand and like chin way up. And Spivac countered once and almost cracked him, but
he also does when he's doing that, he does these weird like stand up hammer fist things. It's
people hate him for it.
Interesting. I mean,
people are like, he targets the back of the head, and it's like I didn't see one shot at the back of the head this fight. It was all like right on the ear. HB Comer says like a mad father. It seriously seems like he should have a belt in his hand or something, like the way he throws those punches.
Yeah, that's going to be a meme somewhere soon.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, HB Comer, get on it. Get the Photoshop skills out. Put a belt in Ciryl Gane's hand as he raises it.
Adobe Express for the win.
Yeah. But I mean, it was pretty one-sided. I think the official stats were like 109 strikes to 11 was the official stats on this fight.
Sounds about right.
Pretty bad. And now we're kind of in a weird spot matchmaking wise at heavyweight because we have Stipe versus Jones, and they've both kind of flirted with the idea that that's going to be both of their last fights. You have Serghei Pavlovich, who is the backup fighter for that fight. You have Ciryl Gane back in the win column. He's ranked number 2, and he just got a win. So it's like, okay, if he fights up, who's he fighting? Is it Pavlovich? Well, Pavlovich's the backup. And then you have Tom Aspinall, who's back, who just looks super impressive, like he never left. And so it's like we almost have 3 guys waiting for title shots and just waiting for these old dudes to retire. I don't know how they're going to handle it.
I think the whole retirement thing for at least John Jones is just sort of like a play to drum up like eyeballs and type of stuff. I think he it's not like he's scared that people aren't going to buy the fight, but I think like he just wants in his mind the guarantee that he has like a backup plan, sort of like how we used to do with partying, where like, if I party and I lose, then I have a backup plan to like give me an excuse.
I didn't really train. I was just doing blow.
Yeah, I think Stipe is a little bit more realistic. I think he just has he has like firefighting and all this other stuff going on. He has the gym to run. I think John is far
by the time they fight.
Yeah, John is far less likely to retire. Now, if you're gonna match up Ciryl with anybody within like the top 10, I think like the best fight would be him and Curtis. Give Curtis another opportunity to jump himself into the title picture, because I mean he needs something and he hasn't fought in a long time. Ciryl needs to show that he can grapple with anybody in the top before. Like if you give him against Serghei, he's going to either knock him out or take him down and just smother him. You give him John again, it's going to be the same thing. In a magic world, if Francis came back, it would be the same thing. So I think the best idea would be throw him with Curtis, give Curtis an opportunity, give Ciryl an opportunity, give the UFC some time to book the 2 matchups that you were talking about, and then just see what happens when it all unfolds.
Yeah, HB Comer says, who really wants to see that Bones fight with Stipe? Not me. I'll watch it, obviously, just because it's like it is 2 greats, but I'm
not clamoring for it.
Like John took so much time bulking up to go to heavyweight, and like if back then if he fought Stipe, I'd be all over it. But now it's just like, it's like, what are we doing? And Monster Tony says Pavlovich versus Aspinall for the title after Jones and Stipe retire. I think that's the move, Pavlovich versus Aspinall. I don't know if I do Ciryl Gane versus Curtis Blaydes, just because Curtis Blaydes he's coming off a loss, right? He lost to Pavlovich, so it's like, should he fight up? I don't know if he should necessarily fight up. He might have to fight someone. And isn't he booked actually against Jailton Almeida? I think he's booked against Almeida. Did they make that?
I don't know, but I mean, I understand the idea of like making him fight up again or like fight down again, but Curtis had been sitting there for so long, waiting and waiting and waiting. I mean, if you're not going to throw him the bone and give him the title shot, at least throw him the bone and give him the opportunity to stay in the picture. You know what I mean?
Instead, the UFC was like, we're throwing Jailton Almeida the bone because they are fighting in November. That's a banger, dude. But I like Almeida's very promising at heavyweight. Another good grappler.
He's somebody who actually does a diversity of grappling, like more than just grabbing your leg and forcing you to the floor.
But you do know exactly how he's going to shoot at the beginning of the fight. Every single fight, he opens up with a front kick to the body, and then as soon as you step forward after that front kick, he shoots a spear takedown to get across the cage. HB Comer says, Toasty, part of the screen looks like a cutscene from Command and Conquer. Wow, that's a good reference. That's a solid reference. Command and Conquer was sick.
Hey everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you so much for watching that short clip. It's just a small clip of what we covered this last Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to check out the full fight card recap, the link is in the description, and it's going to be on screen at the end here. Don't forget to go back and watch our fighter interviews that we have. And don't forget to tune in live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and you can join in on the fun.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. All right, everybody, thanks for watching that short clip from Story of the Fight.